So we're talking about area this assignment, and we've already talked about triangles and all the different quadrilaterals like squares, rectangles, rhombuses, kites, trapezoids, all of them. Okay. So what if they have more than 3 or 4 sides? That's where this one comes into play. So there's 2 things you need to know about the formula for a polygon. It has to be regular, and what that means is all sides are equal and all angles are equal. Okay, if the polygon has different side lengths, or some angles are bigger than others, this doesn't work. Okay, you don't have a formula for that. That's where you have to break it up into the smaller pieces like we did on some of the examples yesterday. Where you had to make it, okay, like this piece is a triangle and this piece is a rectangle or this piece is a trapezoid. But if all the sides are equal and all the angles are equal, we have this formula. And it's a fairly, you need me to zoom in a little bit? Okay, sorry. It's a fairly easy formula. It's half PA. P means the perimeter, so you have to add up all the sides. Okay? And then, no, a little a is a new word. A is apothem. But all that is it's the line that goes from the center to the middle of a side. So it's a line that goes from the center to the middle of a side. So in this picture, they've drawn the apothem for you. It started in the middle and it went to the middle of the side. Okay? So that's all you need is you need a side length and an apothem. Sometimes they'll tell you the perimeter, but sometimes they won't tell you the perimeter. They'll just tell you like this side right here. And then you just got to remember that perimeter, you add up sides. So if they tell you the sides and they're all equal, just add them up. Like, say if I told you this side S was 10, then I'd do 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10 to get my perimeter. Perimeter hadn't changed since you were little. It just add up all the sides. Okay? The new word that you hadn't ever probably used before, those of you that are 11th grade may remember it from last year, but those of you that are 10th grade didn't learn it yet. So this is a new word. Okay? Apothem. So we're going to do one of them, and then one of them is going to be for y'all. Do y'all want to do the one below this or the one next to it? Okay. So this one over here, y'all will do on your own after we're done going over them. Okay? So we'll do this one. So our new formula that we just learned is 1/2 PA, or you could see it as AP. It doesn't really matter. In this case, what are our sides? 18. And how many sides do we have?
5.
So you can either do 18 times 5, or you could do 18 plus 18 plus 18 plus 18 plus 18. That would be your perimeter. And what's our apothem? It's 15. Okay? So, we've got to do some math here. It doesn't really matter the order because all of them are multiplying. Okay? So what's half of 18?
9.
So we have 9 times 5 times 15. Anybody know what 9 times 5 is?
45.
Yep. So 45 times 15. Now this one, I can't do in my head. Maybe you can, but maybe we need our calculator.
I do it all the time. I'm good at doing it. Doug, Gary, and you show.
I think it's bigger than that. Somebody type it into your calculator. 45 times 15. Say again? Somebody verify. That's what she got. Somebody else type it into your calculator. Let's make sure that's what it is. I don't want anybody confused later when they can't figure out where we got the answer from. 45 times 15. All right. Now, I didn't put units on this, but if there were, like say it was in feet or inches, just remember that you know that the area is square units. Okay? So this is the formula anytime you have a regular polygon. You just need that apothem, and then you need the side lengths so you can add them all up to get the perimeter. Okay? So that's it for that formula. Like I said, the one next to this on this slide will be one that you do on your own. As soon as you're finished typing this in, turn to the last slide. Alright, so this is our last formula for the assignment. And it's not a polygon like, the others. They all have sides, like triangles.
Why is number 9 blank?
Number 9.
It's blank from just one slide.
Did you delete the pictures?
Everything else 9 is number
How many slides do you have?
9.
So you probably just added an extra blank slide by accident. Just turn to the last slide now. So this one's not a polygon. It doesn't have sides, but y'all know circles.
Seniors, at this time, if you will head to the cafeteria with your senior shirt on, head to the cafeteria at this time, seniors.
Sorry. All right. So with the area of a circle, the only measurement you need is the radius, which, remember, the radius is from the center to the edge of the circle. Okay? But there is this new symbol, this right here. This is pi. Okay? It's just a mathematical symbol. It has meaning, but unless they tell you to round, you don't even have to try to put this in your calculator. Just leave pi as part of the answer. If they tell you to round to the nearest whatever, then you can put it in, and it's in your calculator. I think even on the phones you can find pi. But if not, then we can up here on the calculators at the top. So it's a pretty straightforward one. I'm not going to do A because that one is literally plug R in for the formula. I'm going to leave that one for you guys. But I'm going to do one where you have to work backwards. So look at E and F. See how they don't give you the diameter or the radius, they give you the actual formula? So what you have to do is work backwards. In this case, we know that the formula is pi r squared. That's what we just talked about. But they tell us the area is 78.54. And that's pi r squared. Okay? So if we're trying to find the radius, we need to get r alone. It's being multiplied by pi right now, so we have to divide by pi. Are you two focusing? Because I feel like y'all are not. Focus. We got to divide by pi to get r alone. So for that one, we can put that in our calculator.
Oh my God.
Because you can't really divide by pi in your head. So 78.54 divided by, in my calculator the pi is right here, but I have to turn my calculator sideways to see it. Alright, so that's about 25. Notice that the decimals keep going, but there's several zeros. What that probably means is this was a rounded area right here. So we've got 25 equals r squared. Do y'all remember how to work backwards from a squared? Y'all remember what the opposite of squared is? Square root. Thank you, Dylan. So if I square root this, that'll tell me what r is. So the square root of 25 is 5. Okay? Yep. So the radius is 5. That means from the middle to the edge is 5. Do y'all remember what diameter means?
Like, is there like
It's all, yeah, perfect. It's all the way across. So if you know the radius, you just double it to get the diameter. So had I wanted it for this one, the diameter would be 10. The reason I bring that up is because on this one, you're going to do the exact same process as what we just did. But once you get the radius, you got to do times 2 to get the diameter. So you'll do this one. So what do you notice about the other shapes in these examples? So like B, C, and D, are those even circles? Are these shaped circles?
No.
No. But we're talking about the circle formula. So on this one, is it part of a circle? It is, isn't it?
I know, I said yeah.
Yeah. So when you do your pi r squared for your area, you got to divide this. This isn't half of the circle, because if you think about it, it's like this piece, isn't it? So that means there would be how many of those pieces if you split it?
4.
4. So we divide that by 4. So once you plug this one in, you plug the 5 in for r, but then you have to divide by 4. Okay? What about this one? How does it relate to the circle?
Edges like a circle?
The ends look like a circle, don't they? So if you think about this, this is kind of half of a circle over here, right? And this is half of a circle. So don't you have a whole circle? And then you have a rectangle in the middle? So for this one, you have to do the circle and the rectangle. Do y'all remember rectangle is length times width? So in this case, we've got 3 times 4. What's that? Let's 3 times 4, guys. That's for this rectangle part, right? Now remember, the radius is only from the middle to the edge. So on this circle, we know that the circle is 3 centimeters tall, but if in the middle, that's only 1.5. So that's our radius. So when we do our pi r squared, we're putting the 1.5 in. So y'all help me out in the calculator. What's 1.5 squared, or 1.5 times 1.5? Yeah, 1.5 times 1.5.
Teachers, if you're a senior sponsor, we need you to do the cafeteria at this time. If you'll just pop your door open and run down and take a pic at this time. Thank you.
Okay, so he said that was 2.25. Sorry about the announcements that keep interrupting. But we still have that pi. Okay, so at this point we have 12 for this part, and we have 2.25 pi for this part. We just put those together. So we got 12 plus 2.25 pi. And 19.1. I know it says 0, but that 6 would round us up, wouldn't it? So we got 19.1 centimeters squared. Right. So I said y'all are doing A and F together, or alone. B, you're going to do alone, but I got you started. Just plug it in and divide by 4. This one's the other one I wanted to do together. This weird little heart-looking shape, we don't have a formula for that. But as Dylan had told us on the last one we just did, isn't this a half of a circle? This piece right here? And this piece over here? So if you have 2 halves, don't you have a whole? If you have 2 halves, don't you have a whole? So we have a whole circle with this little piece, and then this bigger one, we have a half of a bigger circle. So when you look at this big one, the radius, remember, is half of the whole length. So if it's 4 all the way across, doesn't that mean our radius of this one's 2? And then if you look at the little baby circle, if this is 2, and the radius is only half of that, isn't it 1? So you have pi r squared for the little circle. That's going to be pi 1 squared. Guys, focus. Then for the big circle, you have pi r squared, but it's only half of a circle. But you're plugging in a 2. So pi 2 squared over 2. Alright, so y'all help me out. What's 1 squared? 1 times 1.
1.
So that's 1 pi, right? And then for the big one, what's 2 squared? 2 times 2. 4. But then we're going to divide by 2. 4 divided by 2. So that's 2. And they both have a pi. What's 1 pi and 2 pi? What's 1 and 2? 3. But they just both have a pi. So 3 pi is our exact answer, but it said that we can round it. So we put 3 pi in our calculator. And it's about 9.4. Okay. So 9.4 centimeters squared is our answer. Alrighty guys, so this was finishing up all of our area. You have a couple on here about circles to do. You have the one on the slide before. The ones from the last couple days you should have already done. Like I think we had 2 on Monday and 2 on Tuesday that you needed to do. So you're finishing this up and it is due today. Like the whole slides. We did most of it together. You just had a handful of problems. Okay? That's what you're finishing up.